Hello everyone. So today we're going to be going into an activity that is going to be creating your own meals. So let us begin. So the objectives for today are to create 2 meals that are healthy according to my standards and delicious according to yours. So keep that in mind as you're creating this meal. Each meal should incorporate the 3 macronutrients, the 3 main macronutrients that we've already discussed, and at least 4 micronutrients. So that is also something you need to keep in mind because it is one of the objectives. Okay, so since this activity is going to be done in class, there are some resources that are available and required for you in order to complete this assignment. So you definitely need a computer, so that's why we came to the computer lab. You need a computer, you need the internet to get pictures for the foods you choose and to look up the micronutrients in each food you choose. You're also going to need to use either Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or Google Docs, or whatever it is that you choose to complete your assignment on. And then I will also be giving you handouts that you will need in order to complete the assignment. This handout is going to be really important, and I'll be discussing it later. So let me give you a brief rundown of the class. So first, I'm just going to go over previous knowledge that we have already talked about that is relating to this assignment. And then after I go over previous knowledge, I'll explain the assignment. That way you really understand exactly what it is that you are required to do and what you need to do. Then after I explain everything, then I'm going to open it up so you guys can ask any questions, or if you have any comments or concerns that can be addressed before we go into the activity. And then once you're done asking your questions and I'm done answering them, then we're going to go into the activity. And you're going to have about 15 to 25 minutes to complete it. Once you're done, then we're going to end. We're going to share with the class the meals that you guys have chosen, and then I'm just going to, give a few concluding remarks. So let us begin with the previous knowledge that we already have. So the previous knowledge that is necessary for this assignment is the knowledge of macronutrients and micronutrients. So remember, macronutrients are nutrients that are needed in large amounts in the human body. So we went over the main 3, which are fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. These 3 you definitely need to have in your meal. So it's good to keep that in mind. So when I say you need 3 macronutrients, or at least all the 3 macronutrients that we talked about, these are what I'm talking about. And then micronutrients. Micronutrients are nutrients that are needed in the body in small or trace amounts. So these, for what we've already talked about and discussed before, these relate to vitamins and minerals. So each food has vitamins and minerals in it, and you're going to need to figure that out using the computer. So we already figured out, and we already know what macro and micronutrients are, and just did a brief discussion of what they are. So let us go into the handout that I'm going to give you. So you'll see on the handout, on the left-hand side, that it says meat, fish, and poultry. That's one category. And then underneath it is the dairy and eggs. Those are the main sources of protein that I want you guys to use. Because they're just really high in protein, they're meats, things like that. And then if you go onto the complete right side, you'll see fruits and vegetables, legumes, and then there's also the grains and pastas and breads. All of those are carbohydrates. And for this assignment, you're going to need to incorporate 2, which I think is pretty decent since there's more carbohydrates than there are of anything else on this list. So I think you guys should be fine with getting at least 2 carbohydrates. And then if you'll see the nuts, seeds, and oils category, and that's where I want you to get your fat from. This list is pretty small, but if you can think of any other fats that you might want to incorporate that is high in fat but also healthy, you are more than welcome to use it. You don't have to stick to this list, but it might be good just for the sake of time and just because it is already given to you. So just keep that in mind. All right, so now what do you need to do? So like I said, you need to create at least 2 meals. Each meal should have at least 1 protein, at least 1 fat, and at least 2 carbohydrates. So keep that in mind. Each meal has at least 2. So try to pick different carbohydrates for each meal. And make sure that each meal has at least 4 micronutrients. So meal 1 has 4 micronutrients. Meal 2 has at least 4 micronutrients. So just keep that in mind. And like I said earlier, the list of foods that I have given you don't have the micronutrients on them, just the macronutrients. So whatever foods you choose, make sure to go online and make sure you figure out the micronutrients. It shouldn't be hard. You should just just type in on Google. So if you choose for a protein, you choose a chicken, go online, type in what is the nutritional makeup of chicken, or what micronutrients are in chicken. That way you can figure out what micronutrients are in there, and it shouldn't be that difficult. So just keep that in mind. So once you've created your 2 meals, what I want you to do is to make 2 pages, 1 page for each meal. For each meal, you should have a picture of each food that you have chosen, whether it is a fat, a protein, or a carbohydrate. And then next to each food, write out the types of micronutrients that are found in each food. So make sure for each one you have that. So 1 page, have all that information. 2nd page, have all that information for the 2nd meal. So keep that in mind, because that's what's due. And it's also important that you either save it or that you print it so you can get one for yourself. You still need to print a copy for me to have and for you to share with the class, and then keep one for you for your records, because maybe one day you might want to make that meal. All right, so before we begin, I want to open it up if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns before we begin the activity. It's best that you answer or you ask all your questions right now, because I want you guys to use all the time that you have during the activity to really focus on completing the activity in the time given instead of asking questions. So if you have questions now would be the best time to ask them. All right, so after I've done answering your questions, I hope you guys have fun creating a meal that is healthy but also delicious according to you. So again, have fun, and you have 15 to 25 minutes.